Hi, I'm Megan Cassidy reporting from the Albion Fellows Bacon Center with Amy Wilkerson, the Prevention Education Specialist. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
So what exactly is the Albion Fellows Bacon Center?
Well, Albion Fellows Bacon Center, we're a domestic violence and sexual assault crisis center. We're located in Evansville, Indiana, but we serve 11 counties in southwest Indiana. Some of our services that we have is we have a shelter for victims fleeing domestic violence. We will provide them with safe shelter for them and their minor children for up to 45 days. We have crisis lines, so if a friend, a family member, or a person is going through some type of crisis related to domestic or sexual violence, they can call one of our crisis lines and get help 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365. We also have our outreach crisis counseling, which individuals that maybe they don't need shelter services, but they still need to speak with someone who's been specially trained to deal with this type of trauma. We have our legal advocacy program. We have community outreach, where we work with a lot of different community partners. We do have a volunteer program, so we can, we welcome volunteers to come out and help with the cause. We also have our prevention education department and our community education department.
Awesome.
So we have lots of different programs. Support groups, youth groups.
So you guys go out into the community and talk to students and stuff?
We go to schools, we go to youth groups, we've gone to 4-H groups, we've gone to the Kiwanis Club, the Rotary Club. We go out to colleges and universities. We also do trainings throughout the community as well, where we will go out and train other peers that may come in contact with victims or survivors of domestic and sexual violence, such as law enforcement or nurses or other community partners that we work with, doing lots of different trainings with topics relating to domestic and sexual violence.
How did this all get started?
Well, in the 1970s, there was a group that came together. It was the Evansville Coalition Against Domestic Violence. It was a group of private individuals that used to meet at the YWCA. And in 1979, there was actually a shelter at the YWCA. It quickly was finding out that there was more than a need for just one shelter in our area. So that group of people went together and formed a nonprofit. So in 1981, Albion Fellows Bacon Center opened their doors. We received a federal grant for about $33,000 and purchased a house that they converted to a shelter that only had, I believe it was 6 bedrooms and 2 baths. We named our facility after a very prominent woman from Evansville, Albion Fellows Bacon. She was very big in trying to help, housing reform, children and women's, issues, and also helping the poor. So that's where we got our name from. But then soon we found out that we needed more space. So then in 1981, or about 1980, they started a capital campaign fund to build an actual shelter. So then in 1981, we did open our facility where we're located now. That was devised as a shelter, so we have all the safety and security measures in place, and now we can house up to 34 survivors and their minor children.
What is some of the support that the organization offers?
Well, anytime that a client contacts us, we can provide them with other referrals for resources that they may need, because we want to make sure that we're trying to empower the victims and help them get through the situation that they're going through. So we'll provide them with the educational piece that they may need. We'll provide them with the emotional support that they need, but also connecting them with other resources, because they may need help finding housing now, or they may need help with some type of legal resource. So we can work with them to find all the resources they need, so they can become self-sustainable again and get their lives back.
And so what would you like to share about the Albion Fellows Bacon Center that you don't think the community is aware of?
People who have suffered this type of trauma, I would also want them to know that they don't have to go through this alone. This is a very trying time for a survivor or a victim of this type of violence. And a lot of times they do feel very isolated, and we would want those people to know that they're not alone, that we're here for them. And then also that violence prevention is everyone's business. So even if you haven't been directly affected by this, you still play a role in violence prevention. So if we want a community that's safe and not tolerant of violence, we all have a role to play.
Thank you for meeting with me today.
Thank you for shining a spotlight on us.
From Bossie's EVSC Community Link, I'm Megan Cassidy.